All right, so here are the instructions for this particular activity in the explorations. This is an activity that I really love. I find it a really powerful way to help kids think flexibly about shifting what it means to be the whole around when they're working with fractions. So we do that with pattern blocks in this case, and we have this set of kind of puzzles, riddles of a sort for kids to work through using pattern blocks. So I'm going to do an example with this one right here. If we have a hexagon and a blue rhombus, yellow hexagon, blue rhombus, if that together makes 4/5, then make a shape worth 3/10. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to use the pattern shapes app to do that. So let me just click to that window. All right, so if I have, the problem is if I have a hexagon and a blue rhombus, that is, let me turn on my pen here. That is 4/5. And what I want to make is 3/10. So in order to figure out what 3/10 is, first let me think about what this 4/5 means right here. So first of all, I know that I'm going to get everything kind of in the same terms, first of all. So I know that this yellow hexagon, I can replace that with 3 of these blue rhombuses, like so. 1, 2, 3, just like that. Okay. So then I've got, if you take a look here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blue rhombuses that make my 4/5. So if I've got 4 pieces, there's my numerator 4, so I'm counting, iterating, right? So I know that each of my whole, whatever it was divided into 5 parts. So I guess my whole would have 1 more right here. All of this together would be my whole. I'm gonna set this aside just so we don't get confused. But that means that each of these blue rhombuses, rhombi, is a 5th. Drawing a 5th. Okay, there we go. So each of those is a 5th. All right, now I'm looking for 3/10. So here's what I kind of have to recognize, that this blue rhombus, if this blue piece here is a 5th, if I take this and I divide it into 2 parts, I'll get tenths. And that's something that kids should be familiar with after like playing with taking whole and partitioning it a lot of different ways. But if I take something that's already been divided into 5ths and I partition each of those 5ths into 2 parts, what I get is tenths. And in the case of pattern blocks, I know that that means 2 green triangles. So let's see, let me move one of them up here just to show you that they fit on top of each other. Let's turn this one like this. Here's my 2 green triangles. So if the blue piece is 1/5, then each of the green pieces is 1/10. So now if I want to build 3/10, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag 3 of these over here. 1, 2, 3, and I'll fit them together nicely because that's one of the fun things about pattern blocks, is that we can fit them all together nicely. So that's my answer. That is my 3, oops, turn the pen back on. That is my 3/10. Something to notice here is that there's multiple ways to express this answer. I could make 3/10 like this, my 3 green triangles, or I could replace one of those green triangles by or 2 of those green triangles rather, with 1 blue rhombus, like that. That's also 3/10. Or I could replace all of it with a red trapezoid. So there's 3 different ways to represent 3/10 here. And if you're, as a teacher, if you're doing these problems, you might tell kids that after they've done a few of these, to try to express their answer using the fewest number of pattern blocks possible. And that kind of gets them thinking about what's the simplest way to express this fraction. This way that I'm circling here, that way shows the parts, that shows the pieces of what each 10th looks like. And this way, the red the red trapezoid shows us the simplest way to express it. So sometimes the simplest way to express something isn't necessarily the one that is the most obvious answer. So in the next 2 slides, you're going to use that app to solve a few problems like this. So my advice would be to think about that partitioning and iterating. So you might be thinking about finding the whole, or you might be thinking about finding some other way of partitioning your whole using the parts that you have. These can be a lot of fun when you get into them. So I hope you enjoy this activity.